Welcome to the Good Morning from the Chicken Coop podcast with Kim Johnson, your creative strategist and master mindset coach. Filled with inspiration, distinctions, perspectives, and possibilities, we help you to cultivate a mindset that leads you to create the best version of yourself you could ever imagine. Join Kim every morning from one of her favorite happy places, her chicken coop, along with all her chickens.
Hey everybody, good morning from the chicken coop. So today I want to talk to you about the fact that we all have wants, but wants are not enough, okay? Oftentimes will find ourselves just speaking in the generalities of constantly saying, I want. And yes, this is a useful tool because all emotions are useful tools. Fear is a useful tool if your car has plunged off a bridge. It's just not useful if you stay in fear your entire time and life after that moment. But we all have the ability to have emotions that are very useful to us. The problem is when they get stuck and then they become patterns. But I want to talk to you really about focusing on the fact that we all have this want, and it's driven by an emotion behind the scenes. So a want, just having a want is not enough. It's not going to get you where you want to go. You've got to understand what emotion is driving the want. So for instance, I'll give you a good example. So we live on a farm, and I am working on creating my garden plan for the new year coming up. And in doing this garden plan, I have very big wants about making it better than I did last year. Yet last year was my first year in this type of garden, in this type of climate, and I learned an awful lot. So now I have wants about, and visions about what I want to create in that garden. Those are driven by what emotion? So for me, I get pure joy growing things. I love to grow things. I don't care what it is. It's the thrill of having that ability to put something in the ground that looks like nothing and have it turn into something that becomes a source to feed my family. I just love growing things. I love plants, and that's all driven by just a real sense of joy from it. So I know that my want is driven by joy. But I also know there's another emotion that's there with it. And that emotion that's there with it is I'm very competitive with myself. I'm not competitive with other people, but I'm very competitive with myself. Meaning I constantly want to do better. Just because if I did something one way, I'm sure I can improve upon it. And I'm constantly looking for that growth piece of it. So as I'm sitting and I'm making my plans and I'm going into this, I have to be very careful that I don't become so competitive with myself that I make it extremely difficult to create what I'm looking to do. And again, if I just did it from the idea of the want and not understanding the emotion behind the wants, I would create a situation that would be very stressful for myself. So I have to balance all of that out, and I have to look at it and say, okay, what are those emotions that are truly behind the want? And once I understand what the want really is and what's driving it, then I can move into creating it in a much more fluid, easier way. So this may sound a little confusing, but if you stop and you pause and you ask yourself the right question. So I want to get a new job. Let's just take a simple one. I want to get a new job. Now I say simple, that's a pretty complex thing for most people, but it's a very general one that a lot of people go to. I want to get a new job. Okay, great. What's the drivers behind it? What are the emotional drivers behind wanting to get a new job? Well, I want to create more money. Okay, but what will that money bring to you? Go down layers. Well, that money will bring to me a better life. It'll give me more certainty. It'll allow me to have a better place to live, whatever it might be in that list. Okay, great. And When you start to look at that, is money the only thing? No, it will bring me more respect. If I go and work in a different place, I'll have more respect from these other people, or it'll be a job that I feel treats me better. You can go on many layers and do this, and I suggest that you do that, because the more of that evidence that you have, the more likely you are to go ahead and follow through. And that's what this is all about. A want doesn't bring you to a place of just following through. But when you understand the layers of the emotion, what's driving it, and what will really move you in it, magically everything starts to work at that point. So do this exercise, get clarity for yourself, and I will see you tomorrow.